This regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for June 17th, 2014 will come to order. I'll ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. The next item on our agenda is the presentation of the Springfield Gas Department Scholarship winners. Greg, are you making that, or is Mr. Andavazio?
That's deferred over to Mr. Sam Andavazio.
All right, you are deferring to him. All right. Didn't want to steal your thunder if you wanted to do that. Sam, if you will bring our recipients forward and introduce them, please.
Okay. I appreciate the honor to do this. Before I do this, I want to make sure that I'd like to recognize the school for being so diligent in helping us out with this, especially to recognize the counselors, Miss Carolyn Perry with Joe Burns High School, Mrs. DuPay with Greenbrier, Miss Ada Brown with East Robertson High School, Dr. James Snyder with Springfield, and Dr. Blazer with South Haven Christian School. They work really hard to get us the kids that to bring to our applications, and they really work hard to get the kids. They have a lot of passion for it. The first one I'd like to recognize tonight from Joe Burns High School is Nikki Reed. Stand right there if you don't mind. Nikki is going to Volunteer Community College, and she's majoring in dental hygiene. From Greenbrier High School, Sierra Hinkle. Sierra is going to Highland Crest Community for us this year, and she's a major in special needs teacher in healthcare. Springfield High School, Asia Snorton. She is going to Middle Tennessee State University, and her major is in pre-medicine. And John Dutton with South Haven Christian School. John is going to the University of Kentucky. He's majoring had a Bachelor in Science in biology. So, and one that is not here, wasn't able to make it. She was out of town tonight. She's from East Robertson High School. Her name is Jordan Hudgens. She's going to the University of Tennessee, and her major is in speech pathology. Seniors, on behalf of Springfield Gas, we wish you all the best, and congratulations.
Mr. Mayor, yes. Yes. Just wait till we get the picture.
As one of the committee persons, I would love to really commend these young people. Those resumes were fantastic, okay? So keep on doing a good job.
Thank you, and it's indeed a pleasure to see these very successful high school seniors moving on to college, and we're glad that the Gas Department scholarships were able to help further that process, so congratulations. Now we have a series of public hearings. You know, it's kind of interesting tonight. We even have the front rows filled tonight, so obviously somebody's here with a good interest in government. And we appreciate that. And it's okay to slip out if you don't want to have something to say. The first public hearing is in regard to Ordinance 14-07. This ordinance would adopt the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st and lasting, of course, till June 30th of 2015. Now, if you have a comment you'd like to make about that on this subject, it's not a debatable or asking questions, it's just what your comment would be. You may have 2 or 3 minutes to come forward after you've raised your hand and been recognized. Please come to the podium that's to my left. Give your name and state your position on this, and then we'll move on to the next person. So the first person that's been to see me, I'm going to go on with Rusty Fox. He spoke to me first, and Neil, I get to you next. Rusty.
I'm Rusty Fox, and I'm going to probably be on the opposite side of what y'all expect from me to be tonight.
I'm sitting down, it's okay.
I think you need to go back to the 22 cents myself.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that.
And the reason I say that,
if it happens tonight, but
the reason I say that is, for one thing, I know you're going to address the water and sewer issues, and the only way you're going to get them cheaper is to have more people live here.
That's true too.
And right now, I've been involved with a group of citizens, and we've been doing some research on things. And one of the shocking things we've come up with is I went on the internet tonight and pulled up just every one that I pull up about how bad the crime is in Springfield, Tennessee. And I feel like, I know y'all are offering the chief here a new police officer, but I think we need some more programs, and he needs more money and more help for his department. And
Amen.
like Springfield's crime index is 32% higher than the state average. Springfield's violent crime is 50% higher than the state average. Property crime, 29% higher than the state average. It says your chance of being a victim of a crime is 1 out of 19 in Springfield. Chance of a victim of being a property crime is 1 out of 23. And my feelings are, and I know a lot of the citizens are here, that if you're going to raise our taxes, let's do it. Let's use it for something good. And I mean, I wish that, if y'all would pull up this stuff, you may know all this stuff already. I just wanted to point it out, but
we are aware and very pained by those statistics.
But
we've had a lot of discussion about it lately, and Chief Thompson and I were just talking about it before the meeting started.
So I appreciate y'all considering that. I know that there's a lot of folks probably against things, and I was that way. And by all this stuff, this is hurting us worse than the other. And we're going to have to go through some growing pains and some money. Right. We didn't get there overnight, and we're not going to get there the other way, but we're going to have to do it together. That's citizens exactly right. And y'all. And I appreciate your time.
Well,
thank you, Mr. Fox.
Thank
you. Appreciate that.
Neil Peterson.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Mayor, Aldermen, staff, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Neil Peterson. I live in Springfield. Springfield can be a low-tax town. It can be a high-crime town. Thank you for that introduction. We know both of those things are true. We are a high-crime town. Springfield can be a low-tax town and a low-maintenance town. Drive through a neighborhood that's not your own and take a look at the condition or even existence of sidewalks, curbs, and gutters. Springfield can be a low-tax town and can be a not-so-attractive town. If you get out of your own leafy neighborhoods and look around, there's lots to be done to make Springfield an attractive town. The new trees along Memorial Boulevard help, but a lot more needs to be done. Springfield can be a low-tax town and can be a town where the sewers back up and cross-connect to the stormwater runoff and are left unattended for years on end, can wind up costing extra millions of dollars to repair, with the possibility of the federal gun to our head and developers screaming about moratoriums. Local developers may wait it out and adjust, but out-of-town developers are going to take their capital elsewhere to invest, and you're never going to know. Holding your own by keeping the grass cut in the 3 parks or putting new air conditioning at the center is not really making progress. Why don't we have a pocket park within walking distance of every mom with small kids with swing slides and benches? I'll tell you why, because there's an attitude prevalent that parks will just get torn up. That's not an excuse, but it seems to suffice in Springfield. Springfield can be a low-tax town where people are advised not to drive down Central Avenue at night, as I have been. Hiring a great police chief and not giving him the tools to do the job is like giving him a gun without bullets. Our tax base will grow when people have the confidence to build homes and businesses in Springfield. It's your job to make Springfield the kind of town that attracts investment. Those of you who have lived here many years point to things like the Y, the Legacy, and Northcrest as examples of great improvements. Folks, those are one-off projects that come way too few and far between. Those examples do not show a pattern of growth or good stewardship. Getting a new Dollar General is pretty much the lowest common denominator of development. We can do much better, and it's time to start. With a penny-wise and pound-foolish approach to fixing the problems in Springfield, the problems will continue to exist, and people with money to invest will go elsewhere. Please give Mr. Nutting what he needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Is there someone else who wishes to make a comment? Margot?
Margot Fosness, President and Chief Economic Development Officer for the Robertson County Chamber. I'm also here speaking tonight on behalf of the investor group of Realizing Robertson's Future. I'd like to reiterate what's been mentioned about the crime statistics. This is a serious problem in Springfield. It is a serious drawback for our efforts to bring economic development to our community. I would like to see some serious attention put to that. I'd like to hear what Chief Thompson has in mind to battle these crime statistics in our area. I know he gave a report, but to date I haven't heard him give a report to you as to what he believes should be done. I'd also like to just once again reiterate what I believe is the service that the Chamber of Commerce does to the city of Springfield in return for the small investment that the city makes. This weekend we probably had 10,000 people on the square in Springfield. We had local businesses along Main Street in the square who told us they had the best Saturday that they've ever had. That is just one small example of the things that the Chamber does to bring people and investment and development to the city of Springfield. Thank you.
Is there someone else? Hearing none, we'll declare that public hearing concluded. Second is ordinance 14-08. This would set a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield water system. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to make a statement in that regard? Hearing none, we conclude that portion of the public hearing and move to ordinance 14-09, which would set a new schedule of rates and charges for the Springfield sewer system. Is there anyone who wishes to comment on that matter? Come forward.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Heber, I'm a resident of Springfield.
Speak up just a little louder.
My question, I guess, is to you and the aldermen. If you adopt this ordinance, what about those people that don't hook up to the sewer system?
Mr. Duddy?
Well, if they have a functioning septic system, they're good until that septic system starts to fail. If they're within a reasonable distance of a sewer right now and they're on a septic system, they need to be charged or asked to connect.
Okay, so if I take it, if they refuse to connect, they will still pay the charge. Is that correct?
Well, if they're close enough and they've got it's my understanding they do have to connect within so many feet of the sewer at the present time.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
Yes, sir. Other comments with regard to the sewer rates? Hearing none, we will move now to ordinance 1410, which is a change in sanitation rates. Is there anyone who wishes to comment on that? All right. It looks like we're through with the public hearings for tonight. 1.4, the approval of the minutes from the special meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, which was held June 10th. Is there a motion this be approved?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, if you favor the approval of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So ordered. And now we move to ordinance 1405, third reading. This is the ordinance which would establish, let me read all of this. In water and wastewater, we're amending Chapter 3 and amending Section 18-303, etc., involving plumbing permits that are required. This has been thoroughly discussed 2 different nights. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll, Connie.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
No.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis. Mason.
Aye.
That's 6 to 1.
Similarly, and the next item, 2.2, is discussion and possible action on 1406, which is also a third and final reading, and this has to do with plumbing permits and inspections. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Please call the roll.
Head.
Yes.
Carneal.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
No.
That's 6 to 1.
Okay. We're on 2.3.
Yes, sir.
2.3 now. Ordinance 1407, third and final reading. This is the budget and tax rate ordinance for the fiscal year. Is there a motion this be taken under consideration?
So moved.
And a second. Now the floor is open for discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Sneed.
I'd like to amend the budget on the section that has to deal with the water and sewer department. I'd like to make the amendment to, let's see how to word it. I want to make the amendment to not add 4 new hires at the department. One, the coordinator for the stormwater utility, and the 3 maintenance crews for the new vacuum truck.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second. Can we separate those? There was 2 of those, 3 of those are in water, and the others in storm water. Am I correct?
Yes. I don't want to separate them. I think we got enough people for water utility man, and I think they need to use existing people on that new truck.
They're not in the same department.
The water utility, the storm water utility, that's...
Storm water would be something different
Okay,
than
well, I mean,
wastewater.
they're right here in that
Yeah,
same
yeah.
stance. Those 4 individuals.
Mr. Ellis, he has a second to this, so I'm going to take it like that and make it vote preference. Any discussion on Mr. Sneed's amendment?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Hubbard.
Mr. Sneed, may I remind you of the state mandated, federal mandated decree that we got with the storm water. We have to go with that. It has to be separate from our regular water systems. So you have to understand that. We have to keep it like it is. We have to start a whole new entity. So leave it as it was constructed. Mr. Nutty?
Yes, it's my understanding there are 2 actually EPA programs here. One is stormwater, which is a federal mandate,
Exactly.
and our administrative order on consent, which is a federal mandate. We have promised the EPA in our plans that we will have a crew fully dedicated to keeping our sewer system open and clean. It would be nice if we could combine this, but we can't. We need a crew fully dedicated for this, and I believe that's in our agreement with the federal government. Also, under the coordination, we are collecting storm management fees. There are things we are supposed to be doing. We've done a lot of mapping, but there are still things that have to be done as far as public information, and that's what that coordinator position is for. One person dedicated to be the administrator and enforcement officer for that program.
All right, Ms.
May I amend
Snyder?
the amendment?
Just a moment, Ms. Snyder.
I believe this is very important that we go ahead and do this according to state and federal laws so we'll be able to build. I'm afraid we have to comply. Do we like spending the money? No. But we have to, so we can start building.
Mr. Steve?
There seems to be some confusion about whether to do these jobs. I didn't say not do the job, do the work. I don't want to hire new people. I think we have enough people sitting around, killing time, sitting in the back, in the shops. Take some of the least productive crews that we have. We gave water department, sewer department a new crew and truck just 3 or 4 years ago. I think, can't remember, just a few years ago at least. We got enough people, reassign them. I didn't say not do the work. I didn't say not do what was promised. I'm just saying do it with people that we have through reassignment, not hire more people.
I think you're clear. Mr. Ellis?
That was clear, but we need to separate these. They're totally two different things.
And if you want to do that, we need to
One
vote.
is stormwater, and one is wastewater. And stormwater is mandated by the federal government, but they're not together.
I understand that, but the way that motion is stated, and
They
it's
put them
properly stated,
together.
that we're going to have to vote on it as is, and then we can come back and you can propose something that can correct that. Okay? You going to think through that? Well, I think you know the obvious answer on it. Anything further on this amendment? All right, let's call the roll on the amendment.
Carneal,
No.
Head,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes?
Mason.
No.
Snyder,
No.
Ellis,
Yes.
Hubbard,
No.
failed 3-4.
Okay. Now we're back on the main motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I can make an amendment to the budget.
Okay.
Would like to eliminate the 3-man maintenance crew to the water wastewater department and have that department utilize, man the new truck that we've budgeted and paid for or budgeted for and ordered with existing personnel.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion now on Mr. Sneed's new motion?
That did pull out the stormwater.
Pulled out the stormwater and dealt only with the wastewater.
Question for Paul.
Mr.
What impact do you see that once the sewer project is complete, I know we need a crew that will maintain this truck. Do you see less problems, less maintenance issues in the future system-wide?
Well, I think we're establishing a base right now. The sewer system continues to deteriorate every year. I mean, it's not like everything's just collapsing and falling apart, but there are things that have to be identified, not only of just keeping the lines clean, but making sure that once we establish the base with our depreciation, I mean, we're going to have to start every year, start anticipating we're going to have to make some repairs, whether it's lining pipe or upgrading some pipe or whatever. We're going to have to spend $250,000 or more every year, probably a lot more than that, to just keep the system in good shape. And these people will have a camera truck and a flusher truck, all the things they need, not only wet weather flows to try to correct those, but the dry weather flows, people that put things down sanitary sewer all the time that shouldn't be in sanitary sewer and really create the problems, grease and other things.
Okay, and that's the job of the new crew, is that?
Yes.
Is that right? The current crews that are maintaining the system and combating these problems, what will they be doing?
Well, we really, to be honest with you, I don't think we've got enough people to cover 150 square miles. Forget the water system is 150 square miles in the middle portion of the county. Spent a lot of time going back and forth. People say, well, I see these trucks going out of the city all the time. Well, of course, most of the system, or a good half of the system is outside the city. And of course, you have the sewer on top of that. So there's plenty of work that has to be done. We still have the camera truck. we're just going to have to figure out how to best shift that manpower, but we can use it all.
All right. Mr. Hubbard?
I don't think we are hearing, even in the public, in our public discourse about the necessity to grow. You don't want to impede having a ready workforce on our service entities. I mean, why are you going to put yourself in a strain when you know that we may need more 3 or 4 years from now? See, that's my comment about living on the edge. We can't run this city government living on the edge, and I would not support that, because I want us to explode. And I want those new companies that she's talking about, those new people coming here. And I want us to have it. We need to build it, have it ready, have it in place, and when they come, work with it. So we got to really get and start thinking. We have to start thinking out of the box and not look so much about squeezing that penny and shooting yourself in the foot.
All right, sir. Other comments?
I would just,
Mr. Ellis?
I've got a copy of the agreement. Tried to read it, but it's went off.
Is that with your glasses?
Had an assistant. I've tried to, it probably, in what I've read, doesn't say 3 new people. It says 3 designated crew. So that can come from 3 new people, or could come from 3 people that are already there that you designated to go to this truck instead of going to what they're doing today. Does that make sense?
Well, we wouldn't have asked for it if we didn't think we needed it. And, there are a lot of things we've had to answer to the EPA. There are a lot of reports and commitments that we made. As it stipulates, every quarter we have to make reports. We have to have plans on a lot of different things that we've never had before. And let me tell you, you start missing those, you don't know what trouble is until you don't correct this thing the way you promise you're going to correct it.
Is it okay, Mr. Nutt and Mr. Beers, to give a quick reflection? I'm sitting in for Roger.
Not near as long as him.
Get in this argument, okay?
Yes. What do you need me to add on?
To clarify the request. For
One thing, Clay, you were asking about, you were talking about, do we need these people? I'm not over there, so I can't tell you what these people do. Now, I know under the agreed order what we have and different submittals we have to make. Here's the things that we're going to have to adhere to. Every year, we're going to have to flush so many miles of pipe, so many linear feet of pipe. We're going to have to camera so many linear feet of pipe. We're going to have to inspect. It breaks down to about every 10 years, you're going to renew your system. You're going to have to inspect approximately 10% of your manholes. You're going to have to go back and do smoke testing, 10% of your system. This is every year. I think that's where they're getting into, that they need the additional personnel just dedicated for that, not to do any other entities. They're going to flush, they're going to fix any repairs. That's solely their dedication. Now, how the people are needed, I'm not over there in that department, but I know that's what the agreed order, that's where that comes in.
So what you're saying is a much higher level of maintenance on a regular basis?
Yes, sir. I mean, that's agreed to. That we've been forced to that.
That's what I understand.
And what it gets to, they're not going to let you get into the same situation that you got into before.
Exactly.
They want you every year, okay, we're going to fix this, we're going to fix this, and in 10 years, they're just like you're renewing your system to keep from getting back into the situation where you ignored it for year after year after year. So that's what the personnel are for.
Are there any other questions of Mr. Beers while these before us?
Yes, yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Beers, do you think your department is any different from any other private sector, industry, or any other business that you're running at 100% total efficiency, where there's no room to add any type of new work like this new vacuum truck to the existing personnel? You have to have new people. There's no room.
I don't know.
for any
I can't tell you
any-
that. I'm not
any
at the
new
water
work for existing personnel.
I'm in engineering, so I'm just filling in here.
On that, he works in the water end of it. And the waste, he's representing.
I'm at the design
He's an
and
engineer.
management, so I'm not.
As an engineer, so I don't think it's really fair for him to make the judgment of that. I get what you're
It's
saying.
Mr. Hubbard's request to the
Well, I
question.
understand that, but I think the question you ask is not in his.
Mr. Hubbard
realm of
asked me to
responsibility.
elaborate on the addition of the men, what they would be doing, so
I'm pretty much along the same line. What are the men doing?
I just,
Mr. Hubbard elaborated on what he has consistently stayed on top of for the last 19 years, okay? And know where we are at this point.
I'm comparing it to
Okay.
every other
The
industry.
comparison
already
is,
running
before I
100%
open my mouth,
efficient
I
now.
make sure that it's a
That's
pertinent
an
argument.
argument, both sides.
Thank you, sir.
Unless there's somebody else who wants to speak on this issue, I'm going to call for the question on the amendment.
Yes, sir.
If you're for this amendment, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote no.
Restate that.
The amendment is to, the amendment itself, this is for a dedicated three-person crew for wastewater maintenance.
To eliminate it.
Eliminate.
To eliminate it. To eliminate.
You want to eliminate.
His motion is to eliminate the three-man crew.
Okay, so
And that's what we're voting on.
Yeah,
Three new employees,
yeah, the three new employees.
not the crew, the new employees.
All right, everybody understand?
Yes, sir.
If you want to eliminate the additional employees, you know what to do.
Yeah, I know how.
Call the roll, please.
Hubbard,
No.
Snyder,
No.
Carnell,
No.
Sneed,
Yes?
Head,
Yes.
Ellis,
yes.
Mason.
No.
Failed 3-4.
All right. Floor is open for other discussion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Sneed?
I'd like to amend the budget to eliminate the $40,800 that we are currently paying to the Chamber of Commerce. I think with the increased membership and increased in dues and the addition of employees, it's time for that entity to stand on their own and grow up without tax dollars.
All right. Is there a second? Motion fails for lack of a second.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir?
my overall comment for accepting this budget was really answered by the public hearing and our knowledge of really propelling us into the future of being prepared so that this city will not have to go backwards, where we can get the growth that we need, that we can become the outstanding city that we already are. But we just have to tweak it a little bit, and we have to really come out of the box. So this was a very well-designed budget, and I really feel that we should pass it so that Springfield can go ahead and grow.
Other comments?
Mr. Hubbard, we all have our opinions about the budget, and we have the right to make amendments if we don't think it's necessary. It's just the process. Don't take it personal.
I'm not taking it personal. You have a right to do what you want to do. I'm stating what James Hubbard feels, okay? I'm not impeding
Let's
you.
get back on the subject that we're here for. Vote this thing up or down, or make whatever amendments you feel are necessary. Other discussion?
Tell us again exactly what we're voting.
There was no second.
There was no second. There is no vote at this point. We're on this whole budget at this point.
The whole budget.
The entire budget and the tax rate of 14-cent increase, which would make it $1.20 from the $1.06 that's there. Is there any, are there other amendments?
I have, I have one for us to discuss and vote on, whichever way it goes suits me fine. A way in which we would recoup whatever $35,000 in salaries, and I know we were not going to get into this a great deal, but a plan to give everybody a 2% raise first day of November will provide the city $35,000 to do something else. That's 4 months.
You're wanting to postpone the raise that's scheduled for July
That's just
1st to November 1st.
An amendment, that's all.
All right, is there a second to Mr. Ellis's amendment?
Second.
There is a second. Now, discussion on the amendment.
Just ask one thing.
Okay.
Ms. Holt, is that general fund only, right?
So it'd be
I
part of the.
used, I used your figures.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. Yes, about $7,600, $7,500 per month.
On the general fund?
On-
Okay. That motion applies to all employees, but you're referring to the part that affects the tax rate, okay, and not the utility rate.
While we're on this, one department sent in a special request, I believe, or Paul may have it in the budget. I would want this to state that this is what everybody would get, and this is all the raise they would get, is 2%.
That doesn't count step raises. That
Does not, yeah, that would be 2% and your steps, but,
But it would apply to all employees effective
did I
November.
not say that
1st.
right?
Yes.
Or did I not, or did I, yes?
If
Which
you're,
one? You
if
shake
you're
your
topped
head.
out,
Yes.
you still get it,
Yes.
right?
We know what you mean.
We know what you mean, but I'm gonna have to address this. There is a retention situation with certain departments that you have to look at. You're trying to maintain a certain proficiency. You don't want a turnover. There's a couple of departments you really have to look at because Nashville is robbing us blind. That's the reason why we made that special allowance. So it's retention. You want to retain good people.
Ms. Knight?
Okay, my question is, if you're topped out in your department, you're saying that you still get a raise?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would apply to
2%
all.
raise. Everybody,
Across the
It
board,
takes
everybody
what-
gets 2%.
but just in the general fund?
No, everybody.
No.
Okay.
And that's what I meant, I would have said.
What he was saying was that the effect on the general fund would be the savings
The 30,
that he didn't get into what it would do in the various utility departments.
okay, for all employees.
And just for everybody's edification, when you give a COLA, the whole pay scale comes up for everyone.
Okay.
I would like to comment, and Mr. Hubbard and I are just going to have a conversation. When we're talking about retention, retention is just like these men said, we need to be talking about the police department. They've lost 20% of their people in the last 4 years. Now, according to what I am reading, and what I was given, and let me be sure I have the right page, because I'm
Get to the electric department. That's what you want to look at, sir.
that's all I'm looking at.
That's the one you want to go to it.
Hold on a second, excuse me just one second. I'll get all this separated.
Yes.
Okay,
But you can review that.
here I am, Mr.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Evans.
Mr. Mayor, what I did look at this to try to be fair, and found that in the electric department, that it said that we have, let me just read this. Last year, we had one opening for a ground man position. Now, I'm just telling you what I'm reading. 2012, we had one opening for an apprentice. We would go back to 2011 to find an opening for a journeyman, lineman or crew leader. And I know that recently, according to what I was told, that 4 or 5 applied at CMC. It is my understanding that they're all still here. No, sir. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I know you.
Yes, he definitely need to address that. Of course, you need to address it.
You need to announce your
He's sitting on
arrival,
the wrong-
Robert.
He's on the wrong row.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, our turnover percentage has gone down in the last 5 to 6 years. That's largely due to in 2008, we did the same thing that we're talking about doing tonight. We had to increase salary of our very competitive positions, just for retention, because from 2002 to 2007, we had an 80% turnover rate. We lost 10 linemen. From 2002 to 2007, from 97 to 2002, we lost 6 linemen. But it was because of the effect of the increase we did in 2008 that our percentage of turnover drastically reduced. But now we're getting back into the same position again because we have not kept pace with surrounding utilities. We've lost 3 to Nashville in the last 5 years. The only reason we haven't lost more is because there's not more openings, but there stand to be more openings at Nashville Electric, CEMC, Clarksville Electric. You know, we kind of keep our ears to the ground, and we know there's a lot of retirements coming up. And I really don't want to turn over half my workforce because I've got some good employees, as all city employees are. But we have to be competitive with surrounding utilities, simply the same way that the police department has to be competitive with surrounding municipalities and other police departments, so we don't just keep training people to go to other systems. So that's why I'm asking. I would not ask for something that I did not need. I actually asked for more, but Paul, you know, he pared it back because we understand how money is tight right now, but this is where we are, and right now we're about 18% below the surrounding average for a lineman. We're 20% below the surrounding average for a foreman, and if we don't keep pace year to year, then that gap is going to get bigger, and we could stand to lose more.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
What is the average rate for a lineman for Springfield?
Right now, $28.78. The regional average is $33.97, so there's a $5.19 differential on a lineman and a $6.15 differential on a foreman. And these are just comparing utilities within an hour's drive from Springfield.
That's what I'm looking at right now on the internet. It says $60,000 for an average lineman.
Yeah, I'm not concerned with anybody. I'm not concerned with East Tennessee or Kentucky.
No, I didn't.
I'm concerned about.
This is Clarksville.
Okay.
It actually popped up.
Clarksville's current rate is $35.91 for a lineman, $40.53 for a foreman.
All right, is that all you needed to add?
I would say, is that all, Robert? Is that all we have? Is that what you have? I did check and just go through what our gentlemen and ladies were making, and I will say this, that the workers with overtime are making more money than the assistant. Who is Nikki? Where is he? I found your name. Is he there? That's number 2. As of the last pay period, that's correct. This year, and I'll go on and tell this, last year, 10 of these people had, last pay period, with one pay period to go. Your people, you had 10 people who had already made more than $60,000.
That's true.
With overtime.
That consistently happens. We're not talking about management salaries. That's a whole nother picture, and we just stuck to our most competitive positions, our linemen and our foremen, meter tech and technical services supervisor. But if we went into engineering and operations, that gap widens quite a bit.
Any other questions of Mr. Gardner? Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Are there other questions before you? At this point, you have the entire budget. Several amendments have been introduced and failed. One didn't get a second.
Okay, so
is there
right
anything
now
for
we're going on the amendment for the budget as is.
I think it's Holton to say that.
Okay, we're on the amendment now. Was there something to be said here?
Do you want to add?
There's just some clarification, I think, that's needed, whether or not in that amendment it included the additional 3% that was budgeted for the electric department on top of the 2%.
Okay. What did you have with regard to that?
My understanding that is that it would not be there, the 3%.
Okay. You didn't say that.
2%. I did not say that.
Wait a minute. Yes. You didn't allude to that. What you said is 2% for everybody.
2% for everybody.
Deferred till November?
Till November.
Now, the 3% wouldn't, the 2% will. Defer it to November 1, give them a raise in November, it would start November 1.
All employees, it seems I'm rewording it as you did. All employees would be entitled to a 2% raise on top of the step raises if they're eligible for them. But that would be, the date of the effectiveness of that would move from July 1 to November 1. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So the clarification is that the 3% for the electric
Would become
would be-
2%.
Well, it's 5,
You go
well, it's
back.
3%, it's 5% would become 2% because they've got 3 in it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted clarification.
Any other questions? Mr. Hubbard?
I cannot go along with the cut. I can go along with the deferring. Okay, I don't think at this time we should defer the 2%. All the steps, I think we can handle that.
Okay.
On past the budget.
Just a moment. Is there a question, James?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Alderman Head.
Mr. Head?
Said second.
And this is to take out the 3% that's elected.
It's to change the rate of the electric to the same that everybody else gets. That's number one. And part two of it is to delay the raise until November 1st instead of July 1st. Now, that's what's before you in this amendment. Is everybody clear on it? If you favor the amendment, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote no.
Snyder.
No.
Carnell.
No.
Hubbard.
No.
Sneed.
Yes.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Mason.
No.
Failed 3-4.
All right, back on the budget as a whole. Are there other amendments?
I've got a list, but I hadn't been very successful so far.
That's up to you.
But at
I'm
least,
trying to be fair to everybody.
okay,
I'm not encouraging or discouraging.
You did a beautiful job.
and that's okay. I just said I'd put it out there and people could vote. Oh, I would like to make another amendment, please, sir, since we've got plenty of time and got anything else to do.
That's your opinion.
We are hiring a fireman and a policeman who are going
Effective
to go to
January
work,
1.
who are effective January 1, 2015.
Yeah.
A couple of hundred years, couple of years. Okay. We have a gentleman who's been in his job a long time and is same age as I am. And that look good, George? You look better than I do. Exactly. Graduated from high school same year, a long time ago. George is retiring, and I would like to keep that position. And then we're talking about probably hiring somebody in November, something like that. I mean, we don't know that, but we've got to go through interviews, and they've got to give 30-day notices. Bringing the new person on in January 1, 15, and it would save half that salary if anybody's interested.
Mr. Nutty?
Well, we will not be paying the new person what Mr. James makes. We've already made the changes in the budget. It's not at certainly Mr. James's salary now. So we've taken some, realizing that it's going to take us a month or two to fill his position. It's a professional position. So we're going to have a number of...
Reduced about 20, probably between 20 and 30,000.
All right, what is the public needs to know that? What's the salary range for that position?
Didn't bring it with me. I think it's about 55 to 76.
That's
Okay.
about right.
And how much did you put in that budget for the entire year?
60,000.
You put 60 in. Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Hubbard?
as a member of the Planning Commission, both planning director, both assistant planning director, their hands are full. So if Mr. Nutting choose to maybe hire someone around August or September, we need to kind of give him that leeway. Give him that prerogative. Mr. Nutting, am I?
Well, I stand by my budget.
Okay.
What is your reasonable expectation as far as a new person coming to work?
About within the month after George leaves.
Within a month?
Yeah.
And you think that 60 will cover that? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That
Give
60
us
was
some
budgeted for a
flexibility.
full year, and it will take us probably 2 months, so it could be into September, the 1st of September.
So, okay, you budgeted for 12 months then?
Yes. So we're going to have savings.
Okay. All right.
We're going to
Mr.
be under
Ellis,
budget.
your amendment is to defer that hire to January 1st
I guess my amendment would, I'm sorry.
and amend the budget to only have half that amount in the budget, half of the 60,000.
What?
And I'll second that motion.
Would it be 60?
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure. I think we can deal with the money, but I'm not sure we can tell Paul not to hire. Now, I don't know if you know that better than I do.
Well,
Take his money
honestly,
away.
you have, that's correct. However, when you set that budget, you pretty well lock him into what he can or cannot do.
Well,
And you pretty much have to know that those positions need to be filled at the time that he said it need to be filled. Because that is a key strategy position in the city. And we don't want to leave it vacant too long.
Well, if the job is presently budgeted at 60,000, and the way we fill things often, it takes a little longer. I think Paul might have been a little bit optimistic on that. The longer he waits, of course, the more we save, but
We posted the job, correct?
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Right.
Wasn't some of Mr. Ellis's motives to bring the police hire a little closer and delay the plan directors and make that offset reverse? That was part of the.
I didn't hear that in his motion.
That would be Paul's decision. But in the budget, it says hired police officer in January. He's wanting to hire a plan director now. He's wanting to offset it and get the police officer hired sooner. That's the purpose of this. Is that right, Mr. Ellis?
yeah. And in my opinion, which evidently doesn't amount to much, if I have to make a decision between a police officer and, excuse me, George, and a planning director, I'll hire a police officer.
But that wasn't your original argument.
Well, I'm not, whatever.
I mean, now clarify, he didn't come into you mentioned Ms. Sneed. That wasn't the part of the original argument.
All right, we're back now. The amendment as structured is to delay the hiring of the planning director until January 1st. And it's been duly seconded. Now, was that your intention, Mr. Ellis, was to allow some additional funds so the police officer could be put to work
We're going to
earlier?
have to save some funds, but what was also proposed, and can still happen, the 2% applied to the lower positions will get them more money.
That's true.
But what the people need to realize is this budget is pretty much locked in. We need to come up with another source for police officers, and we know we're going to have to, but it's not in this. All that's in here is one man, one person.
And the reason for that is that puts the force back to its authorized strength of 39 officers. And when you say 39 officers, somebody says, oh, you don't need that many. You mean you got 39 out there now? Divide that by 5. It takes 5 people employed to put one on the street 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can do the math. And if you've got some vacancies, we currently have 2 vacancies, 2 on National Guard duty, 1 disabled, and 1 in the academy. So you can do the math. So that's what you deal with all the time. That's a little more extreme, but you never have the full force there. So that's what he's trying to do. All right, Mr. Sneed.
I passed out something. I want everybody to tear off one and pass it down. I've talked to, this is about budget issues, getting into trying to juggle some money. I've talked to our Miss Jane. I've talked to Jane about the trying to get our funds listed like this, our tax card like Metro, so people know what they're paying.
Okay, why are you bringing that up now?
Because if we could do this, we could start budgeting things for police, some things for fire. Since he's brought up an issue trying to move some money around, we can raise funds just for the police department, just for the fire department, just for parks and so forth, if we can get it set up like it is in Metro, like this tax card.
Okay. All right, any further discussion?
Ready to vote.
All right, question's been called for, and that's on Mr. Ellis's amendment, which would change the hiring of the planning director from the present plan of July 1st, or as near to it as you could.
Now, remember, this is all about money, so we need to know exactly how much money we're going to cut from the budget.
Well, if you have 60,000 in the budget, and
You're looking at 30.
according to this, you were
An
going
estimate
to
of
let
30
that be
plus.
for the full year. Of course, I don't really know why because you know you're not going to hire anybody before August 1st anyway. But I would assume you would cut $30,000 out of it.
Plus the benefits, so
Plus
it'd actually
benefits.
be probably closer to, let's see. About 42,000 probably.
Would have that much effect on the general fund budget.
Yes, you would.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Evans.
Spoken enough.
No,
My amendment is exactly what you said. Can we redirect that money?
you'd have to restructure your amendment, but yes, you could. If you're,
Yeah,
are
you
you
can make
saying
it
you want to
department.
take so much out of that and put it in another department? Okay. You wanna, well, let's vote on this,
Yeah.
and then we'll get it out of the way, and you can come back with another one, should this one not pass.
Well,
You understand the amendment? Or we,
If we have enough savings and we give Paul the leeway, I mean, he doesn't know if there will be somebody, he may have to go through a second phase of interviews. If you find the right person, then we're gonna have to tell him to wait. I'm not sure that's putting a good face on Springfield.
okay. I'm going to declare about a 5-minute recess while we try to put something together.
What you did.
Several in the audience have said they need to it's getting to be bedtime for some of them, so I want to try to accommodate that.
Down up here.
Mr. Ellis, the floor is open for you to make a statement.
I'll withdraw my amendment.
Mr. Head, you withdraw the second?
Everybody after that. I will.
Okay. Now, do you have another
I
amendment,
have
Mr.
another
Ellis?
amendment. Mr. Hubbard, I know you'll be proud of that. Been here all night, gonna try to win one
Let's
thing.
give careful attention.
Make an amendment to the budget that will fill the planning director's job October 1, the policeman's position October 1, and the vacant fire position October 1.
Seconded motion.
Any discussion? And I may add, Paul will make whatever necessary adjustments in the budget to cover it. But that's all we need to say. Now, are we ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
If you favor this amendment, vote aye. If you oppose, vote no.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
All right, now that's progress.
Ready to vote for
Now,
the
we're back on the motion, on the main motion, the passage of the budget, with the tax rate or tax increase of 14 cents to $1.20. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Mr. Sneed.
The representative from Ward 1
Yes, sir.
is quick to shoot down everybody else's amendments, and you want the city to grow, and you want more money, but I never see any amendments come from you. Are you willing to do
He's
anything?
free to do what he wants to do. I don't like the personal back and forth, Mr. Sneed. Let's get on with the, let's get on with the vote. Are we ready for the question?
Yes.
Ready to vote.
You favor this budget and the and the tax rate to accompany it, vote aye when you
What's the
name it.
tax rate we vote on?
$1.20, which is a 14-cent increase over last year. Call the roll.
Ellis.
No.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
No.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
No.
Pass 4-3.
Motion passed. All right. Now let's move to 2.5, which is excuse me, I'm skipping one. 2.4, which would be the second reading on ordinance 1408, which approves the new rates and charges for the water system. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? This increase, Mr. Nutting, is?
It's approximately 9.5%. It'll increase the minimum by, let me see, a little over $1. Just get all this information out here. The minimum
Increases the
bill.
minimum a little
Yeah,
over
yeah,
$1.
the minimum bill goes up. The minimum goes up about 15%, and then everything behind it goes up 6%. So on the average, it's 9.5%.
Okay. Any other questions about this? Call the roll, please.
Carnell.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Sneed.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ellis. Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right. 2.5 is, this is also a second reading. This is 1409, which sets the new rates and charges for the sewer system. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any discussion? Mr. Nutting, please explain that one.
Okay, this is going to raise the rates approximately 37.5% on average. You're going to see a significant increase in the minimum simply because we have to depend on that money to pay debt service and depreciation. We also have probably 2 other bond issues that are to follow, and we'll have the next year to get a chance to work out how we're going to balance the rates. But on an average, it's the new minimum for residential will go up $10. So that's almost doubling, but everything behind it is at a flat rate of 66 cents a 1,000-gallon increase.
Okay. Now, this is what's necessary to totally revamp, as we work through this, our sewer system. This isn't the end of it, these rate increases. There will be more at some point in the future as we move through this entire replacement. But you have to remember that this is not a new city, it's a very old city, nearly 200 years old. The sewer system's not that old, but it's older than anybody can remember, I think. And nobody, you know, the reason some of these things are deferred is because people don't want to have to raise rates, and they don't want to listen to the complaints about it. And you see the result that can bring about, and that's not always the best management. So we'll move forward with this and see what we can do. Any further discussion on this matter? Call for the roll.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
No.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 6-1.
Okay, now ordinance 1410 on second reading. This is the sanitation refuse pickup. This is item 2.6. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
That was an increase of $1
$1,
per month, making the rate $13?
$13.
Okay. I think those who have private pickup around, right outside the city and all will know that we're very competitive on that type of thing. So don't think we cut that back from $1.50 to $1 in the last time. Okay, any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, 2.7 is a first reading. Connie, will you read that for us, please?
Ordinance 14-11, an ordinance rezoning approximately 1.5 acres of property on U.S. Highway 431 North from RI Restricted Industrial to CS Commercial Services. Whereas a commercial developer has requested to purchase 1.5 acres of land in the North Industrial Park on U.S. Highway 431 North, adjacent to the credit union for Robertson County. And whereas the Springfield Planning Commission has studied the proposal and recommends that a 1.5 acre site fronting U.S. Highway 431 North in the North Industrial Park and located adjacent to the credit union of Robertson County be rezoned from RI Restricted Industrial to CS Commercial Services. And whereas the city has previously rezoned smaller tracts of land in the North Industrial Park that are adjacent to Highway 431 North and Highway 41 North in order to attract commercial development. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. Section 1, the approximate 1.5 acre tract further described in Exhibit A attached is hereby rezoned from RI Restricted Industrial to CCG Commercial Services. Section 2, all ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
We need a motion and a second.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? This is the property that we have sold for approximately, is it 95,000? 865. All right, good. Okay, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Is this a done deal on the sale of the property, or is it contingent on it being rezoned?
I can't tell you that, but there's only.
Well, they take it to the real estate committee tomorrow, and they did not say that it was contingent, but I'm sure it probably is.
Well, it's not in writing.
It wasn't in the contract.
So I voted against it. I don't think we should be giving those geographic advantage to corporations, all the mom and pop shops that are vacant, all the vacancies in Springfield, to have that sitting right up there to catch all of north of the county. I'd like for them to come on into town and spend some money somewhere else, but I was the only one that voted against it. But
Okay.
that's the only thing I've got to say about it.
All right, any further discussion? Call the roll.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
No.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Pass 6-1.
All right, 2.8 is ordinance 1412. This would amend the 2014 annual budget for the city by making certain budgetary changes in both general fund and utility fund budgets. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Head.
Yes.
Carnell.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, 2.9 is resolution 14-13, which declares certain property as surplus and authorizes the disposal of such. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Second. Discussion? Please call the roll.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
All right, we move now to the administrative portion of the agenda. And item 3.1 is the monthly adjustment of retail electric rates of our electric department due to the monthly wholesale fuel cost adjustments by TVA. Mr. Gardner, good news or bad?
It's going up 0.4 of a percent, just very slight.
Well, you're doing better this month. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Excuse me. Is there any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Carnell.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Sneed.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard. Pass 7-0.
Okay. Similarly, in item 3.2, the monthly gas rate adjustment. Greg?
They're up about 2.2% on the purchase gas adjustment, but that only equals about a 1.6% across the board rate increase. Gas is
Volatile.
it's bouncing back and forth right now.
Okay. Well, you're doing better than you did last month, though, I believe. Okay. Any discussion? Do we have a motion yet?
No, sir.
Okay, motion first.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Now discussion. Call the roll.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis. Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
All right, 3.3, discuss and possibly take action on the appointment of our city judge and interim judge. Mr. Nutty, what do you have?
Well, thank you, Mayor. Right now, Mr. Gary Dillahay has served as our city judge, and Charlotte Fleming as the interim judge for a couple of terms now. And they're interested in possibly being reappointed. And you have a letter from Mr. Dillahay expressing that.
All right, is there a motion that this appointment be made?
Move to accept appointments.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
How long is a term for the judge?
2 years.
Please call the roll.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Snyder.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay, discuss and possibly take, under 3.4, excuse me, action on the appointments or reappointments to the Historic Preservation Commission. Excuse me, George James has talked with David Allen, the chairman of that group, about the expiration of the terms of members Tony Cowan and Bobby Stacker. Mr. Allen is recommending that Mr. Cowan and Mr. Stacker both be reappointed to the 5-year terms beginning July 1st. They've consented. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carnell.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Ellis. Mason.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay, now 3.5 at the top of the next page, discuss and possibly take action on appointments or reappointments of the beer board. It's an exciting group to be part of, but all right.
Rather be on the beer board than the cemetery.
Well, probably so. You won't volunteer for either one of them? This, I'm reading from this memorandum from Mr. Nutting from Jane Murphy, our finance director. She's been in contact with Chairman David Dean, beer board members with expiring terms, and aldermen of the wards that they represent are listed. Mr. Dean is asking to step down. He's done an excellent job as chair of that group. He recommends that Jim Campbell, who's also been on the board, be moved into his slot. And that, and furthermore, as we move down that list, Bobby Trotter be reappointed for the vacancy that for that position. Bill Moore be reappointed, and Jim Campbell's board member status would leave a vacancy. So we're open from Ward 6, Mr. Sneed.
No recommendation at this meeting.
All right, nobody at this meeting. Is there a motion that these other individuals be approved?
So moved.
Any discussion?
But we didn't get
Somebody seconded, I thought.
no.
Okay, excuse me, okay. All right, motion's been made and seconded that they be approved. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Head.
Yes.
Carnell.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Ellis.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay, and now the Cemetery Commission, Mr. Ellis. Let's see what we got on that.
I don't think there's...
Okay, I can tell you what you have.
You want to look that up?
Okay, what, you have currently Mr. Leroy Ellis in Mr. Mason's ward, Roger Carroll in Ann Schneider's ward, and Jim Campbell in Clay Sneed's ward. They have all, I'm sure you've talked, I know some of you have talked to your current members, but they have all told me that they would be willing to serve one more term.
All right, is there a motion that be approved?
If the alderman so appoints.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Okay, any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Carneal.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
Okay, 3.7 is to discuss and possibly take action on authorizing temporary employee parking at the IAC. Okay, let's see what we got. I'm not going to read all of this, but this has to do, Chief Hamill, I think you've had something to do with this, is that correct? With that realignment of that parking out there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As you know, IAC, International Automotive Components, is out on Bill Jones Industrial Drive, and they've been known as several different businesses over the years.
This is the fourth name.
And they're under new management, and as we're all aware, there are a lot of challenges with regard to that site. There's been real problems with outside storage. They have freight trucks loaded with recycled material that is parked on grass. They've got drainage issues because of the railroad blocking their drainage. And it's never been a good situation. And we've got some new management in there. And hopefully they're going to be more successful. They're trying to get a storage building constructed and another building on site. The fire department's been working on getting some lanes so they can pass through so that they can receive fire protection and other things. So it's been a real challenge. The zoning ordinance allows the BZA to grant temporary parking for up to 6 months, as Mr. James is maybe aware. But I'm afraid that this is probably going to take longer than 6 months. And it's about trying to get a local business that's doing well. They're growing. I think they've got, factories in other locations and overseas. Just giving them an opportunity to get some room to create some space. And at least I could tell them, if we were open to that they could go and create a site plan. They would still have to do that, go through all the motions and have something approved. But at least tell them that we would be open to that so that we could accommodate their employee parking. Alan has evaluated the existing parking, and we believe that if they will hire an engineer to kind of reconfigure that they can narrow some of those parking stalls that they have. They're a little bit too wide, and they can come down at least a foot. Now, that's not going to create a lot of spaces, but whatever parking they could get would be fine. So I think it's just important to the company to know that we're going to work with them as best we can on this. And so I'd like to be able to go back and say that our board will work with them on temporary employee parking if we have to go beyond the 6-month period.
Do you need a motion?
There's a representative here from that company if you need it.
Would you like to come forward and comment on that, sir?
Yes, sir.
I think that would be good.
Hey, give us your name and.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Schaefer. I'm the
Jeff, we welcome you to
environmental.
Springfield.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Environmental Health and Safety Coordinator for IAC. I've been working with Mr. Hamill, the fire chief, with some of our issues. And this parking proposal would be in front of the building, would create approximately 20 additional spaces, so would help us dramatically. So
I've noticed on Saturday and all, you all working a lot of overtime.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we're proud to see that. Hope you continue to grow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
If the striping reduces the size of the parking lots, that's going to put the cars obviously closer together. There's going to be more issues with doors being open and dings on the other cars and trying to turn into the parking lot, tagging the bumpers. That's the kind of issues that we have to think about when you start asking to make smaller lots. The nicer parking lots can be as wide as 13.5 feet. Mr. James, is that about right? Some of the bigger parking lots have 13.5, and 9 is the minimum that you can do.
Normally, we get a 12.
Right. So a 9-foot parking spot, is there any cameras, or is there plans to put any cameras in that parking lot? So if someone was to get a ding, scratched, have their rear view mirror knocked off as people walk through the parking lot to get to their car, which I've had in my wife's car, I've had that happen in narrow parking spots. Rear view mirror on cars today is several $100s.
Correct.
Is there a way that are you planning on putting cameras on your parking lot so your employees have an issue like that, they can go back and say, can you help me identify the perpetrator that damaged my car?
Correct. No, sir, there's no plan for cameras. However, we did implement a security team that 24/7 who monitor the parking lot and the premises as well.
In planning to ask the board to reduce the size of parking lots, was that in any of your discussions that that's a possibility of damaged cars, and did cameras even come up in the conversation that you might be able to go back, if you didn't go back and implement that?
I could definitely take that back, yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Nutty, do you want to explain a little?
I think one of the points, too, that the company is so busy and they've hired so many employees, they can't even shut the plant down to reseal and restripe the parking lot. So that's one of the reasons. I mean, at some point, hopefully, they can gain some other spaces by restriping and reconfiguring. But right now, the issue is they can't do that at all right now, so they need the temporary parking.
I have to ask you
Yes,
the question I asked all the rest of them.
Yes, sir.
Is the Springfield addresses represented? Our employees from Springfield. You got a lot of Springfield people?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
So we're being
surrounding communities as well.
Okay, but we're
Yes,
being
sir.
represented pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Is there a motion that this temporary permission be granted?
So moved.
Second. All right, any discussion now?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir, Mr. Sneed.
I'd like to add an amendment to the motion that in passage of this, to help the company grow, that they install some security cameras to the benefit of the employees who's going to have to deal with the smaller parking lots.
Mr. Sneed, I don't think that's our business to be asking them to do that. I think they need to protect their own.
We haven't imposed it on anyone else.
Mr. Mayor, that's my motion.
Yeah, I understand it. Is there a second? Dies for lack of a second.
That was clear.
All right. If you favor this motion for the temporary allowance, would you vote aye? If you oppose, vote no.
Carneal,
Aye.
Head,
Yes.
Sneed,
Yes.
Mason. Snyder. Ellis. Hubbard.
Aye.
Pass 7-0.
Okay, now 3.8, discuss and possibly take action on the bid award for the construction of the animal shelter. What do we have, Mr. Brewer?
Last week, Mr. Nutting, Chief Thompson, and myself met with the architect and the apparent low bidder, and we discussed removing some features from the building. We removed about 900 square feet from the building. The architect and the contractor got back together and discussed the value engineering on that, and they have come back with a cost of just under $450,000. Now, what that doesn't include is some hardware, the guillotine doors, the stainless steel guillotine doors in the kennels, and the other interior work, but that is strictly the building for $450,000. There will be some fees for redesign. There'll be $2,500 for the civil package, $6,500 to actually redesign the architectural plans, and another $2,500 for mechanical, plumbing, and electrical.
What is the square footage of that building?
It was 3,000, and now it's down to 2,100.
2,100, and the price again, 450?
450, yes, sir.
All right. You recommending passage?
Yes, sir, and I'll tell you why. As you know, we had a few things in the bond issues that were floaters, and one was sidewalks. We put it in there. If we had some money, we could do some sidewalk work. And we still have $117,000 in that line item. We still have $403,780 in the animal control facility that hasn't been spent. So what I would do is just reallocate some of that sidewalk money, and fortunately we'll still have money to do some sidewalks in various areas and get this project done. Because I fear if we rebid this thing, we're not even going to get close.
All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I have a question.
Statement.
Mr. Ellis?
In the reassessing of this low bid, did the city assume any responsibilities that were the contractors last year?
Say that again, please.
Did the city assume any of the workload that was not in the first bid?
Yes, sir, we did. We have offered to relocate the sanitary sewer service that needs to be relocated, and there is a storm drain that we have offered to do, and I am making the assumption that those are things that the city is going to do to get this price in this work.
Did you have to move any dirt?
Dirt will have to be moved, but we are not moving it.
I think we're going to scarify the parking lot.
Yes, we may scarify the parking lot as well, what little bit we have to do. We've reduced the amount of parking by reducing the size of the building.
I know you've worked hard on this, but you're talking about 3,000 square feet. Is that what you said?
We're down to 2,100.
I thought you said you were at 3. Okay.
We were at 3. We took 900 out.
Okay.
We took out the examination room, the things that you suggested, Mr. Ellis.
Mr. Ellis?
To get the break room out?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Carnegie? All right, go ahead, Mr.
I'm not through.
Okay, excuse me, go ahead, Charlie.
And so what you're saying is we're going to make a choice between sidewalks and finishing this project? And that's what
I didn't say that.
Okay.
What I said was, when we do any bond issue, we've had things in the past couple of years where we've put sidewalks in, and that's been a floater. For example, we had Travis Price Parks, Trails and Sidewalks. That was all given up so that we could do the increased project for the HVAC and the roof. We also gave up sidewalks for other portions, other things that had to be done as well. So all I'm saying is you've got $117,000 left. You can take $60,000 to $65,000 of that and get this project completed. And still have some money left over to do some sidewalks.
I have to make a statement on the sidewalk issue because that is one of the biggest, I get those comments.
Go ahead.
We need to make sure we at least start some sidewalk projects, okay? So that people won't misunderstand our intentions of omitting them. Still have some major complaints.
All right, further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there's two questions. The first is a question of Mr. Nutting. He stressed the importance to hiring some people for the new sewer truck because that department didn't have the extra personnel. And we needed a new person for a coordinator to meet the mandate. But all of a sudden, we've got people in these stressed departments can assume the responsibility of $250,000 worth of work that was going to be contracted out. Now we've got time to just kind of fold that in, bring that into the fold for this project. Land, excavating, moving dirt, moving sewer lines, but we couldn't do that with the personnel just to drive a truck.
No, that's not even a fair comparison.
That's my statement, that's how I feel about it. You argued that we didn't have time for the people in these departments to bring in some new work, but we are on this project.
There's a big difference.
No, it's not.
Yes, there is. Going 40 hours a week, constantly for years, versus going in and put a crew there for a couple of hours, maybe a day, maybe day and a half, to get a major improvement done and out of the way that we're going to have for years to come. It's not even, that's a ridiculous comparison.
We have a motion on the floor, and we have a second. Has your question been answered, Clay, by Mr. Brewer?
It has.
It has, all right.
It was up Mr.
And Mr. Nutting to talk after. Now, is there anything further?
I must say this, in the past year, I've worried Chief and the dog, animal control people to death. You have to understand, I get caught up almost every day with 5 and 6 stray dogs congregating in that field and on my property. So we need the shelter.
You got to stop feeding them.
Don't feed them. Don't feed them, all right?
Okay. Is this pertinent to this?
Yeah.
Okay.
At one of our previous meetings, I addressed the issue of asking you to ask the city manager to get with the county to see if there was a possibility of merging these facilities for cost savings of both, and maybe build in the county where that they already have one, add on to the existing one out there, do something, and that would eliminate some of the excavation costs that are going to be into this project that we do. Did that take place, and who did you talk to?
I think Mr. Nutting and I had a conversation about it, but I have not talked with the county about it. Paul, have you?
This came up, and if you remember, look at all the stuff we've had with this communications issue. And I think the consensus was, are we going to get into this again? I'll tell you what, I'm not going to recommend working on a situation with the county that involves management in the real near future until they realize that their partners are important, that project wouldn't have happened without us. And I'm tired of supporting their needs and then turning a deaf ear to ours. Now, I know how that animal control facility is going to go.
I asked who'd you talk to?
I said the consensus of the board, from what I got from the conversation, was, no, we did not want to get in another joint project with the county in the immediate future.
But who did you talk to?
I didn't talk to anybody with regard to animal control. Not when the board gave me a consensus that they're not going to work with the county on that project.
Chief Thompson.
Just for the record, there was a meeting that included both the county and Greenbrier. The mayor was there from Greenbrier. We had county people there. We actually met over at the Chamber of Commerce, and we talked about just this issue. Is there a way that we could merge resources and do some things like that with animal control between the three instead of having 3 separate animal control facilities? We met, we discussed that. The bottom line was there was really no interest from the county or from Greenbrier to do that.
Okay.
They essentially said they didn't have any interest in joining with us or doing anything in any sort of concerted effort.
Thank you, Chief Thompson. Now, Mr. Sneed.
Mr. Knight, what board are you talking about that said they didn't have a desire to work with the county?
This board.
This board?
Yes.
This came up in one of our meetings.
I think that was, I didn't hear any.
But I asked
other
the
than
mayor
yours
to ask you to do so.
Well, you know what? Isn't it great that my police chief did? I don't have to personally do that. The police chief did, and there's the answer.
That point has been made. Now, we have a bid before us, $450,000 We have a motion and a second. Is there anything else pertaining to this issue?
Ready to vote.
Call for the, you have a question,
Not that
Joe?
it matters.
Well, you won one tonight.
Which one? I didn't get that. I won't vote to take sidewalk money to finish the adult facility or the animal facility. Sidewalks are something that we need, we talk about all the time, and I'm not saying that that's not the thing to do, but I won't vote to take that money. We put it in there for sidewalks.
And you want it to stay
We
there?
need sidewalks.
Okay. Anything further before we vote? You're voting on accepting this bid for a 2,100 square foot building with approximate cost of $450,000. In favor, vote aye. Opposed, vote no.
Mason.
Aye.
Ellis.
No.
Sneed.
No.
Carnell.
No.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Head.
No.
Snyder.
No.
Failed 2-5.
All right, now we have on the 3.9, discuss and possibly take action on the lease agreement with the Tennessee Board of Regents for the campus at Highland Crest. Mr. Nutty?
Thank you, Mayor. We don't have anything yet. They're still working on drafting that lease. I think Mr. Balthrop's been involved with that.
We sent our petition to the board and have heard that back yet.
You and Mr. Richard got together on that.
We did.
Alabama and Tennessee working together. How about that?
And agreed for a little bit.
And agreed. That's good. Do we have a monthly report on the sewer system, Mr. Nutty?
We do. Mr. Beers will make that report.
That's the best. Roger owes you big time for this one, doesn't he?
Put you in the spot again, boy.
Put you in the spot again.
Sure. Ms. Beers, you do this on that new plotter we bought?
No. All right, what I wanted to do is to go through, our first phase here is drawing to a close. We've got Phase 1A and Phase 1B. I think Roger alluded to them as Basin 3BCC and the other basin 13 and 14. I gave you these maps so you'd understand where the locations were for those. And I kind of put some streets with there like 3BCC, that's the Moreland Estate, Curtiswood, Gulfview, Brent Lawn, Black Patch, Driftwood, that's all those areas that are being rehabbed. The other there on 13 and 14 are Stonegate, Legacy, Saddlebrook, Oakland Farms, 17th Avenue Apartments. So you got a generalization of where we're doing this work at.
Okay.
Now, on the Phase 1A, on the 3BCC, the good news is we're drawing to a close here. We're about 85% complete. We should be winding up. We've got some items, majority, with Public Works on our paving, cleanup, some vacuum testing of manholes. We've got, I think, 710 linear foot of 10-inch main to be installed on Linda Lane. That's currently under construction. That's going on now. Should final completion date, again, if I'm wrong, I think it's July 21st of 2014. That'll be final completion for this project on the Phase 1A. The next phase I'm going to talk about is 1B on 13 and 14, where we were making reference. It's also in about the 85% completion with about the same kind of items for the paving, cleanup, and we've got another 8-inch main to install right at the entrance there at Stonewall, at the entrance of Stonegate. And kind of hit the right time. We didn't want it to be during school hours or our school year or anything like that. So it's also, the final completion is 7/26. So we're on schedule to finish both of those on time. Right now, the majority, like I said, is our paving and cleanup. Just want to make sure all the customers are satisfied too. You've been in their area, you're disturbing their property. Gresham & Smith has done a good job with their inspectors going back and making sure that if this person's got a complaint, they come to our department, I'll talk to them or whatever, and we'll make sure everyone's satisfied when we're being in there. The public's being kind of turned over with this, but we want to make sure everyone's happy. Now on We're getting ready to start, if you want the news there, like on the 29th, our bid phase starts for our next phase, Phase 2A and Phase 2B. And again, you got your maps to look at. You'll go at 4A and 4B. 4A is an area of 7th Avenue, the middle school, Connell Drive, Crestview Drive, the FOP building, old sewer plant, McIntosh Drive. That gives you a generalization of where that area is, where this work's going to be done. The 4B is 22nd Avenue, Housing Authority area, the Central Drive, Bransford School area. The basin's so large we had to split it up into two different ones. Then you've got the Phase 2B, which is Basin 3 and Basin 5. These are all points that we had to address because we had chronic overflow points in these basins. So that's why we're addressing these next and, taking it as a priority. On Basin 3, you've got the Kenny's Road, Green Hills, West Side School area, Morningside, McHenry Arbor, Westgate area. Basin 5 will be the older part of the city there. You've got Oak Street, Garner Street, North Main, the Woolen Mills, Nasco, Garner Street Park, areas like that. It's part of the oldest part in town that we do have. So we should be starting out, like I said, on bid phase for July 29th is the period that we're going to start looking to advertise for bids, and hopefully construction can start, September 17th, I think that's it. But the design phase on those, we're about at 80% right now. So I think it's on schedule to do that. We also have some good news with that also. We've looked at some design alternatives with Grisham Smith, and we've gone out, walked in the field, done some things. A lot of these older lines you'll have, like in the older part of town, from the north part, technology didn't exist to make our actual, today, a pipe burst or a lining or anything. So years ago, if something happened, they just put another line beside there and kept this active, and it becomes a point where, okay, this one's bad, but I'm using this one now. So with a lot of design alternatives, we can come up and say, we can eliminate this line, tie here, and go down, and just some alternatives and save some money on those budgets that we're looking to do on those particular basins on 2A and 2B. I do have a bit of good news from the sewer, and we've had one overflow in 2 months. So the work we're doing has been very, very good, very productive. Gresham Smith's done a good job, and the crews that are doing the work are doing an excellent job. So, like I said, we've had one, and we had some there at, I think, Old Greenbrier Pike. They're right at, by the Legacy there when you come in. There was a manhole that overflowed there. I mean, a chance of rain, it seemed to be where it would overflow, but we haven't had that, and like I said, in 2 months since we've been doing the project.
Terry, that's an excellent job. Appreciate that
Okay.
very much.
All right, thank you.
Was this supposedly the worst part of the town?
What part are you making reference to?
What you've worked on?
We took it in priority.
Circle
Mr.
Drive and the Old Greenbrier Pike area were the top two pretty well.
Yes, they were listing a priority of I'm trying to give the right way, of the basin ranking of what we used to get that. And the Old Greenbrier, everywhere we had chronic overflow points is where we took that and said, okay, we have to address this and address this.
Stonegate got included in that.
That included too, because Stonegate actually, when I was talking about it, feeds into the Old Greenbrier Pike. You've got an influx there of Legacy, Oakland Farm, Saddlebrook, and Stonegate all come into that one point, and that was a major overflow we had right there. So that's what we're doing now with the Legacy and Stonegate. So it hasn't happened since then, so it's good news.
That's excellent. That's what we would love to hear, and thank you for that report.
You're welcome.
Now, the consent portion of the agenda is coming up. What's your pleasure?
Move for approval.
All right. This request is of the gas department is to award the bid for construction of the relocation of gas mains along Highway 431 South so that the TDOT can widen that project and get that road as it should be. The price is $905,737.16 awarded to Bush Construction Company of Cookville. Is there a motion?
So move.
And there you got it. Okay. Call the question.
Oh, okay.
Ellis.
Aye.
Hubbard.
Aye.
Sneed.
Aye.
Snyder. Carneal.
Aye.
Mason.
Aye.
Head.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
All right, Mr. Nutty.
Okay, Mayor, thank you. I'll make it quick. Staff is going to, in the next month or two, be looking at our deposit policy with regard to our utility customers. We haven't looked at it for a while and just want to see if we need to make any changes to that. We are going to need fairly soon, probably, pursuant to what Terry just reported on, a workshop having to do with sewer rehab, just talk about not only these projects, but maybe in the end where this is going to. We're looking at possibly the construction of some storage tanks throughout the community. That final decisions haven't been made on that, but we want to get the board in the loop. Also, we need to make a decision because they plan to bid in July and award a bid in September. We're going to have our bond sale this summer, and we're going to have to look at some projects. You want to add some additional projects on there. We've got a couple of annexations that took place in the last 20 years that we have to extend some sewer main to. We know we're going to have the library bond in there. We delayed work on the new wastewater office building. So all these things will have to be decided by the board so that we can get a final amount, so we can give our financial advisor instructions. And that's all I have.
All right, we'll be meeting, again, the special meeting to wrap anything loose ends up is on Monday, June 30th at 7 o'clock. So if everybody will be sure to put that on your calendars. I appreciate the good attendance tonight. Some have left, of course, but the loyal ones have stayed. I think there was a direction that I sensed from the audience tonight that I don't think I've quite seen in the 20 years I've been mayor or when I was at the chamber, Margot. I see a lot of positive things and people who are saying we're willing to pay for progress. And so when the phone rings about the sewer rates and some of these other things, I might refer them to somebody else to say, hey, we're trying to do the right things, but there's no such thing as a free lunch, and we've got to pay for these things. And we're about the infrastructure projects, which are necessary for the quality of life. And I want to say with the crime thing, the two things that probably bothers me, worries me more than any other thing in my job as mayor is because I think it's the thing that I'm most concerned about our community and its impression. I know that this community has so much to offer, and we had all of those visitors in town on Saturday, and Paul said there were numerous comments about how pretty the square was and all these kinds of things. We had the dedication, the groundbreaking for the library, a long-awaited project, very, very well attended. So we've got a lot of things going on that are correcting older problems. The breaking of the ground for the new elementary school last month was another one. But we have to, the two things that we've pretty well agreed on for the last several years is that where we got flack was over crime statistics and school statistics, ACT scores and crime scores. I couldn't ask for a better police department than we have. I'd like a bigger one, and I'm going to support you on that every way I can, Chief Thompson. But that's not all of it. That's not going to eradicate it totally if we added a half a dozen officers to the force tomorrow. That will help, and it'll make people feel better, and it will cut down some. But some of these other things that we do, like helping the after-school project for the middle school kids done by the Y, is just as important. And we have to keep those type of things going. We have a cultural change that we have to work on, and that's causes the crime thing. Tearing down more dilapidated houses goes with it, just as when back in Mayor Giuliani's days in New York City when he insisted that all the graffiti be gotten off just as quick as possible and that police make arrests every time they saw somebody doing that because they wanted to nip it in the bud, be proud of the city. And it worked. And as big as New York City is, their crime rate, their murder rate in particular, is so much lower percentage-wise or as you rate it compared to their population. So we have more work to do. But we need to be proud of all the things that have been accomplished. We have a Chamber of Commerce that's working hard. We've got a lot of groups working to make this a better city. And it's like I've told some people with the school system, when they fuss about this, that, and the other of it. I've been an advocate for it for years and years and years. But we can't just say, well, we need it, and we don't support it with our own children. Now, each parent needs to make the decision about where they want their children to go to school, and I respect that, as far as if I want them in private school, if I want them homeschooled, if I want them whatever. But the point is, listen to the good things that are happening. Listen to Springfield High have $4.7 million worth of scholarships this year. A mock trial team that beat some of the best private schools in this state. A chorus that's won, I don't know how many, choral group from the high school that's won so many things. And the other high schools in the county doing as well. But when I hear Springfield High knocked in petition, oh, you know, I hear this about that or hear that. It's always ironic to me that of the besides the 1,100 students that are enrolled in that school, there are 250 more bussed in every day from the other high schools to take the advanced courses and the technical courses that they have. It is a good school, and we need to support it and to brag about it. And the next time you hear somebody say, well, I heard that such and such happened out there on such and such a hall on such, and people will say, well, that's what somebody told me, or that's what somebody says. That's all you hear. Brag about the good things that are out there. This is a good city. We're going to move it forward with everybody's help. And thank you to our city employees for making the difference in the services that we give. You are the ones that the public sees. And to Paul Nutting and his staff for the hours of work, hours and hours and hours on this budget. And when it gets to us, all we have to do is try to tweak it a little, because any department head will tell you the knife he uses is the sharpest you've ever seen. Very little gets to us to be cut out because he's already done the cutting. But there are times, as was proven tonight, and what Rusty Fox said and some others, we need to spend a little more. And I've been reminded more than once, Mayor, you know y'all made a mistake in the past by not adding a nickel or so to the tax rate every day and then, instead of bragging on not having raised it at all for 20-something years. Now we raised it 7 cents 2 years ago, 14, was it 6 or was it?
It was 6.
6 cents 2 years ago, 14 last year, and 14 this year. And when I hear people who've moved here from other states, Midwest, Northeast, they say, you people don't know what taxes are like. You think yours, they're not. Now, we're not trying to burden people, but all of these things that we're doing now are absolutely essential. And if you hear we raise taxes and we gave employees a raise, I want you to know that we haven't given employees a cost of living raise in 3 years. And we have asked our employees over the past several years to shoulder more and more and more of their health insurance costs, to the point that our health insurance costs today versus 2008 are up only what?
It's actually down.
I was thinking it was up to, it's less than we spent then, and I don't know too many people that can say it. You know what the market is doing in health insurance, so you see that if we're not paying as much as we did in 2008, you know who's shouldering that. The employees are. We can't expect these people to continue to shoulder that and not give them a decent raise. They will get, if they're on the steps, as they move between step 1 and 10, when they top out, they get 3.4% a year for each step. But 60% of this workforce of 250 in all these departments is topped out. They will get a 2% raise this time. And I'm proud to do that. I think it's the right thing to do. And in some areas such as police, we're going to have to do some more to be competitive. Because that's a very difficult job, and while we have people often lining up to take some of the other jobs, there's no line at the police station for it, I'll tell you. And Chief Thompson will agree with that. Thank you for listening.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I have to make one comment out there. Something we have to look at, and I know we think the punitive. Other cities have realized that the punitive approach is not the only approach for deterring crime. From the age of 13 to 30, those are the ones that's filling all those statistics here in the city. The citizens would have to get with the police chief, get with the board, and we start creating programs that address these 13 to 30. Those are the people, you just can't. I'm proud of what Branford is doing with the young people. True, we're planting the seed at an early age. But you have that 13 to 30 who are just constantly coming in and out of jail. Those are the ones that's making the city look ugly. So what I would love Chief to do is get with some prominent people that want to put their pocketbook where their mouths are, understand me, and develop some interventionary programs from 13 to 30. We need to do that.
Anybody else?
Real short.
Okay.
One thing we passed over pretty quickly, and that was the lease agreement with the Tennessee Board of Regents for Highland Crest College campus. That's the most important thing that's happened to this city and the most long-lasting thing for our city
Amen.
and community than anything we've ever done.
And this agreement, when they ratify it, when we get the papers back from the regents and so forth, will eliminate the operating expense for the city and county.
I agree with what Mr. Ellis says, but there's one issue about when, in its conception, it was pitched that it would have no consequences to our taxes, and that's where I had a problem with it. If the people had just been told, we're going to build this off-site campus, but it will raise your taxes. If they had been told the truth, it wouldn't have been a problem. Or raise the taxes to pay for it, where what we have spent out there would not have drained our budget to the point where we had to cut back on our sidewalks, cut back on our potholes, cut back on the pay raises, cut back on the replacement cars. That's what the money that we have spent out there did, because we didn't tell the people we needed the money to pay for the project and get it on its conception. I don't have a problem with the school, but in its conception, the people were told in a referendum that you wouldn't have any consequences as far as the new taxes, and that wasn't true.
The argument on Channel 5, since you have amnesia, from you and Dr. Cherry, was not to have it, period. So we're not ready for it. That's all
right, let's end on a positive note.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Happy 4th of July. We'll see you on the 30th. Let y'all find later.